Yo, what's up guys, baddcat here. Welcome back to another video. It's been some time. It's been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. We're not here to talk about my upload schedule, my god-awful upload schedule, but today we're gonna be talking about Block Sumo, which, if you don't know, it's a game mode in Bedwars Practice Club, IP down below and at the sidebar or whatever it's called. So I'm gonna be talking about how the game could be improved, because I honestly think that it is not that bad of a game mode, but it lacks a few things. So if you can fix that few things, I'm talking to the admin right now, the admin team, the mod team, whatever. If they can fix that, I think this game mode is pretty good actually, like playable, like Skywars level at least. So yeah, I'm gonna be giving my suggestions on the game mode, and let me know in the comments below if you agree with me or not, or if you disagree with me for some reason, because, you know, I'm spitting facts, so why would you disagree with me? So there will be gameplay in the background, and I'm going to be talking over it. This is a live commentary, and I'll be showing examples of what I want, or, you know, what lacks in the game and such. So yeah, let's get right into the video. Just before we get into the video, I'm gonna ask you to subscribe. If you look at the statistics, you will see that I have a very sad life. So subscribe to make my life just a little better. Thank you. Alright, let me get into the video about talking about what Block Sumo is. As you can see from the name, it is sumo, like Minecraft Sumo, where you try to punch people off. But you have blocks, and you can block clutch, and it's like Bedwars style of something and something, because it's on Bedwars Practice Club. You play with 5 to 16 players. I've never actually seen 16 people play the game, because most people quit the game after just dying once, and I should also say that you have 5 lives in the game mode. So your aim is to kill all the other players by punching them off, or getting special items and using them on other players, where there is a power system, and, you know, you level up as you kill players, or, you know, do certain tasks like standing in energy cube, where you get energy, and, you know, you can use that energy to level up, or, you know, the energy is the levels kinda. So yeah, your goal is to get all the kills and, you know, win the game. You don't need to level up to win the game, but, you know, leveling up kind of gives you good items sometimes, so you can win more easily. Now that you understand the premise of the game, we can get to the problems about the game. So the first, and I think the biggest problem about the game, not the biggest, but, you know, the most important problem about the game, is that it is not intuitive at all. So, you know, you spawn in, usually you just walk straight to death because you're holding W, but if you're not dead by the first 3 seconds of the game, in your first playtime, or, you know, your first game, then, you know, you look at what other people do, and most of them are, you know, blocking up, you know, stacking up, and some of them are going to middle, or, you know, trying to bridge to other people to punch them off. And your first instinct is like, oh, I'm gonna block up so, you know, I don't die, or, you know, I'm gonna attack this guy because I am bored and I want PvP and adrenaline. So you go and attack them, you punch them off, okay, it's all good. But then you start to get items and levels and stuff, where it gets kind of confusing, because a lot of the items you get in the game are very unintuitive. And by that I mean, like, there are basic items like TNT and stuff, where, you know, you get a level 1 and there are like, I don't know, 15, 16 levels. I don't know how long it goes, but there are a lot of levels. But you can just get to 10 mostly. Like, if it's a long game, you can get to like 12 or 13 maybe, but I've never actually gotten more than that. So yeah, you get items, and as you get, I'm not gonna say every item and what they do, but, you know, some of the items, I'm not gonna say most, some of the items are intuitive, like a fireball or TNT, where if you place it, it insta-lets the TNT, and, you know, it explodes, big shock. So the problem with the items is that some of them, or, you know, most of them are, you know, very hard to understand. When you get to higher levels, you know, the items become very complex, like Ymir's Rat, which I still don't know what to do. It is supposed to levitate you, and give you like a ice shield where, you know, if other players get close, they take damage, like 0 damage though, so it doesn't really help anything. So you just levitate for like a level 9 item, and some other items like player teleporter, which you don't teleport to any player, but a random player teleports to you 3 seconds after you activate it, which I think, you know, it isn't that hard to understand, but it isn't intuitive. I think a good game, but I think a good game should not explain something, or, you know, shouldn't let the player you know, see the description. You know, a player should be able to understand what's going on just by looking at the item and, you know, just maybe using it once or twice. Also, there are these events which, you know, there are a lot of events, like an event where a gust of wind pushes everyone up, which does nothing basically, because even if you hit someone, they're just gonna go up, and, you know, it is just basically a waste of an event. And there's fireball rain, and there's some other stuff. I don't really memorize all of them because as I said, this isn't my main game. I don't main this or something, but, you know, there are a lot of events, and, you know, a lot of things happen, so, you know, it gets hard for people to follow, especially with all the kills in the chat. You don't usually even see what you get, and, you know, you don't see explanations, you don't even see events. If you just look at your surroundings, maybe then you will see it, but you don't see anything in chat. So, you know, if it's your first, or, you know, if it's your first games, then you will get confused a bit. So yeah, I think a better system would be like removing some of the items, or, you know, making them more intuitive. Like, why would you name something Emir Strat? Like, that is like, I wouldn't want to say anything against Tom, but the guy just watched Attack on Titan and, you know, got inspired to do something, but the something is very complex and it doesn't really do anything. So that is a problem. I think the game should explain itself either before, or, you know, when you get the item, or, you know, before the game starts. Okay, the second problem, and I think the biggest problem about the game, is that it is too fucking long. And by too long, I mean 5 to 15 minutes per game. I don't think like you can really get 15 minutes on every game, but, you know, if your opponent is very rough and, you know, you're fighting for a long time, it can stretch like 11-12 minutes maybe, and, you know, you get to like level 12 and, you know, a lot of things happen. So, you know, your opponent wouldn't die because, you know, they have high level too and you have high level, so you can save yourself from certain death with certain items. But the game is too long in general. I think a game like this with no progression in it, and by no progression, I mean like you can't really grind anything. See, in Bed Wars you have the Bed Wars shop, which you can get better items as the game goes on, but this game literally has nothing like that. I mean, I guess the level system is kind of progression, but it is based upon kills, not playtime, and so it isn't really that good for, you know, long games. I think at max the game should take like 4 or 5 minutes, not minimum 5 minutes. If the game took like 4 or 5 minutes, then I would be fine playing it, because it actually gives like a decent amount of server XP as well. To make the game shorter, I think the lives in the game, as I said, there are 5 lives. I think they can be decreased to 4 or 3, because 5 lives is definitely too much. I mean, let's say everyone takes like 10 seconds to die and there are 10 people in the game. That is still a long time, and with people having 5 lives in the game, it just kind of gets boring, because you're gonna slap them off, they respawn, and you're gonna slap them off again, and they still respawn, and you're gonna slap them off, and then they still respawn, and then you're gonna get slapped off, and the guy's gonna get a level, and getting a level will give him a life. So the game just goes on too long. There are too many lives, and, you know, too many things to there are too many things to save your lives and, you know, make the game longer, which is the preferred playstyle, by the way. Like, camping and, you know, playing passive definitely pays off, because, you know, you don't lose lives and you can win better. So if you're playing for the win, then, you know, playing defensively and, you know, prolonging the game would actually be your best bet, which makes the game more boring in return, but you're gonna get the win. So I think that's a really bad choice, or you know, very crucial mistake for the game, because the longer the game goes on, the more people are gonna, you know, not enjoy it. And by making the preferred route to win the game, playing passive, that really doesn't help the problem. That is the problem actually. That is the problem actually. So, you know, the lives should be decreased to, I think, 3 in my opinion. I think 3 is good, but, you know, 3 may be a bit little, maybe a bit too little, so maybe a 4, but, you know, there you can try a lot of things actually, you know, since it's only in beta, there are lots of things that you can do to, you know, improve the game. Another thing that, you know, pisses me off about the game, or, you know, that I see as a problem with the game, is item balancing, which is honestly quite absurd in my opinion, because, you know, there are lots of items in the game, which you get by leveling up, or, you know, you get with time, but you get better items as you level up. So the first level will give you basic items like TNT and Fireball and whatever, Bat Bomb, which spawns a bat, which then explodes. Yeah, it is a weird item and, you know, serves no purpose. So I think some items should definitely be removed, because, you know, they don't really serve any purpose. And when you get to the higher levels, you get items that are very complex, and, you know, they still don't do anything really. So, for example, you get Ymir's Rat, which shoots you up into the air, or, you know, levitates you up into the air, and, you know, you form an ice shield around you, and the people who get close to you take 0 damage. I don't really get the gist of that. I think that's a very stupid item, and it serves no purpose. And it is a high level item too, so, you know, it is supposed to be good, but, you know, it still does nothing. So I think some items should really be removed from the game, or, you know, heavily worked upon, so that the game is more balanced, and, you know, as the game goes on, the game actually gets quicker instead of, you know, more passive and boring. The first items are actually pretty balanced. You know, they're not OP, but, you know, they are items that you can use, like snowballs, to knock people off. I think that's a great thing. The first levels are very balanced, but as I said, the further you go in the level line, you get kind of like more complex but useless items. So item balancing definitely is a big thing with the game, because, you know, it is not at a point where it makes sense. You know, I find it very stupid that, you know, where if you level up, you will get worse, or, you know, useless items. Another big problem about the game is camping, in my opinion, because if you go up at the start of the game and, you know, the people can't hit you, then you're basically securing all 5 of your lives, which are very valuable. So, you know, the game itself by design encourages camping, which really isn't good, as I said, because it prolongs the game, which in turn makes it boring, so less people would play it. So my solution to this problem would be to add a storm surge, like in Fortnite, or, you know, maybe there's something like this in other games too, where you take way more knockback if you don't hit anyone, or, you know, if you don't get a kill for a long time. I think that would really discourage camping and playing more aggressive, which in turn would make the game faster and, you know, more action packed, which would make it fun. So, you know, with just that solution, I think I've solved most of the problems with the game, because, you know, as I said, the length problem and the camping problem, which, you know, both of them are solved. That is pretty good. I don't know how to implement it. I don't know if, you know, making a good or working system for that would be easy, because, you know, how are you gonna calculate who is camping and who is not? It should be an automated system, but, you know, maybe someone's just not hitting someone and not camping. Maybe, you know, people are running away from him. How would you do that? So that is kind of dumb too. And also, if one player is camping on top and one player is trying to kill them from the bottom, then the player that's trying to kill the camper would also take more knockback, and maybe the camper will jump on him and get the first set and send them into the orbit. So it is definitely a hard task to balance that out, but I think that would be one of the best fixes to most of the problems the game has. My last problem with the game is that there aren't any good maps. I wouldn't want to say any, but most of the maps either have too many blocks or too little blocks. Well, I guess the map that looks like a ring, it actually has a decent amount of blocks and it is fun to play. But the other maps, they're just hot garbage. I know the developer doesn't make the maps, the build team does, but giving the build team some commands or giving the build team some ideas for the game would be good, because for example, this map that is on the screen right now, it is just so bad because there are blocks everywhere and it is so easy to block clutch, so no one dies and the game goes on forever, literally forever. It gets so boring that I want to leave the game. And look at this map. It is shaped like a pyramid. So if you're knocked one block down, you basically die because the people above you can hit you and you really can't get back up. So you're supposed to spam blocks, which in turn makes the games longer, as I said. So that is the big problem with the game. So I think, balancing the maps and making new maps and removing the bad maps, I think that will, kind of solve the other problems too. I think everything goes to the same door, to be honest, like not balanced and it takes too long. So by making these changes, I think the game could be way more fun for more people. And I didn't only come with problems, I actually had some ideas for the game too. So my idea would be to add a system where you have progression in the game, like Hypixel perks, or not Hypixel, but Skywars perks and kits and stuff. Maybe not kits. Kits would be too OP, but well, actually that wouldn't be too OP too. Like getting 4 or 8 snowballs at the start of the game wouldn't be too OP, would it? Or the ability to get your favorite item way more often. I think that would be good and encourage grinding the game. So in turn, making an actual community for the game, like Bedwars or Skywars has, or Hypixel Skyblock has. And another suggestion that I have for the game is to adding the Block Sumo gold block at the middle to Beta Block Sumo, which if you stand on the block for 20 or 25 seconds, I'm not sure, I don't really remember, but if you stand on the block for a certain period of time, you win the game, which I think will kind of solve the camper problem too. And it would also give like an actual objective, like a secondary version to win, which in turn would make the game kind of more complex, and you can pressure the camper or pressure your enemy to pursue you without getting any items. And I think that will make the game more complex and better, not more complex, but you can have more techniques or tactics that you can follow. And my last suggestion would be to increase the amount of XP that the game mode gives, because for like 7 or 8 minute game, it gives like 200 to 250 XP max. Not max, but it depends on the kills you get, and if you get a lot of kills, you'll get like maybe 300 max, but 300 isn't really a lot for playing for 7 or 10 minutes or something, for getting that many kills. So I think the XP amount could be increased. There isn't anything wrong with giving more XP. How can the economy ever fail? So those were all my suggestions for Block Sumo. I think the game mode is decently fun, even though I criticize it a bit. But these changes, I think the game mode can actually be a full-fledged game mode, and be like have its own community and stuff. So yeah, I really hope that the developer Tom, or who is developing, there are a few admins, whoever is developing the game, sees this video and improves the game mode as I said, or listens to my ideas at least. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you on another video. Bye!